The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Here we go. Talkin' Buds Leaf Show post-game edition. Leafs losing 3-2 to the Florida Panthers at home, and once again falling 4 points behind them in the Atlantic Division. I know what kind of state of mind you're in from texting you throughout that entire hockey game. But I think, listen, before we dive into what you're really feeling, I think we need to just, like, if you take a look at the game sheet here, like, you would look at it and you think to yourself, like, it's not that bad. Like, shots were even, 25 each. Hits, I mean, the Panthers drastically out-hit the Leafs, but the game sheet doesn't look that bad, and they had moments in this game where they hung in there. But overall, I think as Leaf fans, we come away from that game feeling discouraged for the most part.
Yeah, discouraged, and just I don't want to overreact too much early. It's just kind of deflating and frustrating when you're assessing who your competitors are on a way. If your ambitions are going on a cup run, that's the team you're going to have to go through, and they are missing some key assets out there. And it looked like they didn't miss anyone tonight. It's just really deflating as a Leaf fan we got great talent. We have guys who can score when they get the opportunity, but we don't have a program here. We don't have a winning program like they do over there, where they play winning hockey, where their puck pursuit is relentless and their forecheck is relentless, and the way they stand them up on their own blue line. It's just, I like having good, talented players, but there's no brand of hockey being played in a Toronto Maple Leaf uniform, and they have a brand of hockey that they play in a Florida Panther uniform, and it's really bad news for the Toronto Maple Leafs because they can't compete with it. And look, I didn't think they played awful tonight. I'm not going to be like they were awful tonight. I thought they had some good shifts. I thought they actually had some offensive zone time. I think they had some chances to score, but without Tkachuk and now Marchand and the juicer, Aaron Ekblad.
The juice head, Aaron Ekblad. Yeah, Brock Lesnar. Yeah, big pop-up pump, Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah, without him being Triple H circa 2002, it's deflating. I am just a little bit deflated. I have a hard time imagining them beating that team in a 7-game series. I really do.
Well, I think you just hit on it, and I think when you look at these two teams, the word that comes to mind is identity. The Florida Panthers have a very clear identity. And you go into this game and they're missing all the guys you just mentioned, Marchand, Tkachuk, Ekblad, like key guys. And you're like, okay, we're getting Chris Tanev back. This is a game that they've been home for a few days. There was all this talk about how tired they were because they had a grueling road schedule. We're home for a couple days. We're rested. This is a game this game is there for the taking to close the gap and catch the Florida Panthers in the Atlantic Division. And to me, you really don't need to overthink it. It's as simple as one team battles every single shift, no matter what, and the other team doesn't. It's really that simple. The Florida Panthers, you rewind back to around this time 2 years ago in that very building when Paul Maurice absolutely lost his mind on the bench at that team. And since then, they have been a legit juggernaut. And the way they've been a juggernaut is they outwork you. They out hustle you. They out forecheck you. They out hit you. They out everything you. And
on top of that, they have a lot of talent too. Like don't. That's another thing. Like you watch their team. Yeah, they play a brand of hockey, but they also have depth. They have guys who can score. Like these are skilled players too. Sam Bennett scored 2 goals tonight, but he'll also punch you in the face and run you over. Matthew Tkachuk will score 2 goals against you and also punch you in the face and run you over. They also have a very deep roster and also a goaltender who is a proven. When it's time to shut the door,
he's a Hall of Famer.
When it's time to shut the door, he's going to shut the door. So it's just you start stacking the comparisons between the two teams, and it's really tough to picture a world where somehow this team is able to beat that team. Simple as that.
Once again, in a big game, Matthews and Marner are non-factors. This Auston Matthews situation it's not good. Like he looks like David Kampf out there.
Yeah, he does.
Like he literally looks like David. Like, tell me the difference between Auston Matthews and David Kampf right now. And some hero in the comments is going to start throwing, well, he's got a 10-game point streak or whatever it is. He's not like, this dude is not paid to rack up assists. He's paid to be the best goal scorer in the game. And he is so far from that right now. It's unbelievable to watch. He's just another guy out there.
Yeah, he needs. I was thinking about the movie Space Jam when I'm watching Auston Matthews right now. He needs Michael's special stuff.
He sure does.
He sure does. What happened to this guy's scoring touch? What happened to the wrist shot? Like he just doesn't have it right now. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have any finish. He doesn't have any ability to make a move on a defender to give himself some open space. I think he's like working hard.
He doesn't have any ability to be noticeable. Like he doesn't have any ability to make a play. Like he doesn't do anything. Yeah. He goes out there and he skates around. He doesn't do anything. He's David Kampf.
Yeah, he needs a little
Auston Kampf.
He needs his mojo back. Like something happened.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
It's extremely, extremely concerning. And this whole thing about, oh, he's injured. Well, then fucking shut him down. Like what? If he's injured, why is he playing? Yeah. Like he's not. This version of Auston Matthews is not effective. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think the fact that he's just like, he's always been able to just have finish and just score those incredible goals. Yeah, there's the whole thing of him not showing up in big games or his speed or whatever, or comparing him to the top players in the game, but he's always had the ability to have that finish and score those beautiful goals. And he can't even put an ugly one in right now. Mm-hmm. Like even around the net, he has an opportunity. He does a wraparound, can't get it in. He gets a rebound, can't put it in. And then as soon as he gets an opportunity to take a wrist shot, he either misses the net or fans on it. Like it's just, it's really strange. It's really strange watching him just have no ability to score right now. It's something's off 100%, and it's not good.
Yeah, and like, yes, I'm past this whole like, oh well, the details of his game. That's not what he's paid. That's not why he's here. He's here to be an elite goal scorer, and he's not doing that right now. Yeah. If you're gonna boil it down, the fundamental difference between these two teams, identity, working hard, is that it?
The difference between the two. When you watch the Florida Panthers, the one thing that they do, just that the Leafs just do not do, and I've never seen them do, is just when a forward is going into pressure a defenseman who has the puck, and they're almost there, they almost have their stick there, but the defenseman always gets the pass off right at the nick of time, and they're breaking the puck out. The Florida Panthers actually get to that defenseman, lay a body on him, and take the puck from him, and force a turnover. That's what they actually do. They just have an extra gear of effort that the Leafs just don't have. And when they revert, when the Florida Panthers aren't like the way they were, like you always have your default settings, right? So what you revert back to at some point. Their default setting right now is just like, we're going to hammer you, we're going to forecheck you, we're going to take the puck from you, we're going to cause turnovers, and we have enough skill and ability and the goaltender to bury goals when we need it. Like it's just. I don't know.
An example of that tonight was when the Leafs are on the power play and they come over the blue line and they're dicking around trying to get set up. And Florida is just attacking them with such intensity that it's out and down the ice and it's out and down the ice and it's out and down the ice because the Leafs want to get in and get set up and make some passes and look for a sauce and do all the things they want to do. And Florida's just like, to hell with that. We're gonna put the pressure on you with the body. Even though we're down a guy, we're gonna put the pressure on you with the body. We're gonna get the puck back and we're gonna clear it out. It's so clear that there's a difference in mentality and ideology with how these two teams play the game. And we're at a point, Ryan, where it's like we've shuffled the deck chairs. Like there's all these new guys. The supporting cast is different. Craig Berube, all this stuff. At the end of the day, this Leaf team's identity is those four guys, and those four guys set the tone of we are going like Matthew Tkachuk. I know he's not in the lineup tonight. Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, those guys are the ones who set the tone for the Barkov. They're the guys who set the tone for the Florida Panthers. They're the guys who it trickles down throughout the rest of that dressing room that this is how we play, and everyone kind of falls in line. And when your best players don't set that tone, man, you get what you get tonight. And I'm with you. I'm not coming away from tonight being like, oh, this was a complete disaster. It wasn't. They had good moments in this game. This was far and away Max Domi's best game of the season by far. I was ready to come on here tonight and absolutely skewer him for the comments he made earlier today about winning the division. I'm going to let it slide because I thought he was the best Leaf on the ice tonight, in my opinion. But you just think about it. Like you and I, the last 2 weeks, we've sat here and we've gone, what are the expectations? Like, are we just out here to have a good time and finish at the top of the division and get into the playoffs? And maybe we'll win. Maybe we won't. There's always next year. Like, Is that the expectation, or is the expectation to actually go on a run? Because if you want to go on a run, you're going to have to go through that team.
Yeah, and they can't beat that team.
And the way this team plays, there's just no plausible scenario with which they beat the Florida Panthers in a 7-game series playing the way they do. It's just not going to happen. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. But that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
The only word I can just think of for this episode to summarize how I'm feeling is just deflated. Mm-hmm. Even if they did, like, I'm even questioning that even if they say they just all of a sudden started playing more of the right way to be able to beat that team, I don't even know if they're talented or good enough to beat that team at all. I actually think Florida just is a better team overall. They kind of have their defense is more effective. Their forwards are mean, but can also score. They have an elite goaltender. It's just, I don't even think the Leafs at their best could beat that team in a 7-game series. So that's why I feel deflated right now. And I feel like this conversation is just with I don't even know if you want to get into the, like, thinking about future contracts or anything, but it really makes you evaluate where this team is when you watch a game like that. You watch who they're competing against, because I texted you earlier. I always thought that Tampa and Boston were in reach in those years where Tampa was going to the Cup and they were losing to Boston in the first round. It always just seemed like they were missing just one ingredient. But when you watch them play that team, you're just like, they're not even close to this team. Like they can't. There's no way they can beat this team. I don't think that they're a player away or a this away. It's just.
But it's not roster construction. It's not roster construction. This is what I'm getting at. Like, yes, Florida has a very talented roster. That's the Leafs game one lineup out there tonight. Okay, like you look at that team. Like this is a talented hockey team. All right, it's not about roster construction. It's about playing a certain way. And like I said, the best players on this team do not set that tone, and therefore they just don't execute the way Florida does. And you're right. Like it's a little dramatic to get into this whole like long view of everything, but I don't know how you're Brad Treliving and you can sit up there. Brendan Shanahan's a complete lost cause. Forget about Brendan Shanahan. I don't know how you can be Brad Treliving and sit up there and watch this and go, yeah, we'd run this back next year. We're going to beat this team. Like that team was depleted tonight.
Yeah.
Depleted.
Yeah, they were depleted. Yes.
Depleted. And they outworked you for large chunks of that game. And again, I keep coming back to this. Some guy in the comments last episode accused me of saying the same thing over and over again. I'm doing that tonight. They outworked you. It's as simple as that. They work harder than you do. Like, period. End of discussion.
Well, it's just like, let's just bang our head against the wall. Like that's basically what I feel like right now. I'm just going to bang my head against the wall once again. It's just like, I'm kind of at the point where I've given up a little bit. Like I'm watching the power play tonight and it's just like, I've given up on this. Like this is like, it's been all year, the same conversation. I don't have a solution. They clearly are never going to change the top unit.
Yeah. They don't change it.
They don't change it. If they did, would it work? I don't know. So, like, honestly, I'm looking at their power because tonight you look at it. The Panthers scored 2 power play goals. The Leafs had a bunch of power plays, couldn't capitalize, couldn't really get any good chances, and that's a huge difference maker in that game. And I'm just, well, if the power play got better, well, it's not getting better. It hasn't gotten better all year, and year after year after year, it doesn't show up in the most important times. So I've just kind of given up on that. And what you just said before, the top players setting the tone, they need to set a tone. I've kind of given up on that too. Because it's just not going to happen. Like it's not going to. All of a sudden, it's just going to happen. Like we've seen it before. It's just like maybe they can go and win a round, but in terms of having these dreams of these guys just maturing and all of a sudden just setting the tone of the way the game starts, it's just not going to happen. It's just it hasn't happened and it won't happen.
Well, when it comes back to the best player setting the tone, it's the Mitch Marner situation where it's like if he decides to walk out the door at the end of the year, I think in a lot of ways he's doing you a favor because this team and this management group led by Brandon Shanahan does not have the stones to make these hard decisions. And he might be doing you a favor because guess what? Florida made those hard decisions. They changed their identity. They made a trade and they have been a completely different hockey team ever since.
Yeah. Well, people are terrified to let go of a good player. Like it's as simple as that. Everyone's just shitting their pants thinking about, and including me, I'm not 100% sure if one of them moved on, they'd be better. They might be worse. And that's also a scary thought. And then you're standing there being like, well, I thought they would have been better, but they're not better. And now like, I don't fear anybody going anywhere else and like being successful. Like if they somehow join a winning program and they end up being a part of that, like you could put Matthews, Marner, Nylander, anyone on that Florida team. I guarantee you, they would start playing more of a Florida style and you'd be like, where was that?
It's a tone that is set in that locker room. Yes.
So it's just, I understand that it's terrifying to let go of a great talented player, and the media constantly is like, you don't give away talent. Think about trying to acquire talent. Everyone's looking for talent, but it's just, I don't know. Like, I just feel like banging my head against the wall right now because it's the same conversation over and over again.
To your point that you've been making for the last 17 minutes, it's just, you're scared to let go of talented players and you're scared of what that might result in. But as currently constituted, you watch that game tonight and it's like they cannot beat this team.
No.
Sure, a one-off, like they play 2 more times before the season ends. They might win one of those. But if they come up against them in a 7-game series, you really think the Leafs can win that series?
Absolutely not. 0% chance.
People can get in the comments and call us negative, and you're so negative, and they're a good team. They're they're second in their division, and it's like, yeah, they are. But again, I hearken back to what we've said the last couple of weeks. What are the expectations? We, as fans, on this podcast want this team to go deep. That's what we want. We want them to hang with the good teams in this league and be Stanley Cup contenders. And you watch that tonight and you're like, I don't know.
No, I don't feel good about it.
And the Florida Panthers are a goddamn wagon. Like, if you look at the East right now, the Washington Capitals are clear of the Florida Panthers by, well, when I checked this morning, 9-point lead on the Florida Panthers. Is anyone, if those two teams met in a playoff series, is anyone picking the Washington Capitals? No.
Probably not, but judging what I've seen from the Capitals this year, I feel like it would be a great series, though.
Yeah, but
that's another
the
big
Panthers
team,
the Panthers personify what it takes to go on deep playoff runs in this league. They do. When you think, how do you win a Stanley Cup? You look at the way that team plays. It's not flashy. It's just good old fashioned hard work, and that's it.
They're a scary team, man. They're so scary because they're just such they're almost like a bit of a throwback. You know, like they have all the top talent and skill and guys who can put the puck in the net, but then they also just like, they're going to bully you and there's just nothing you can do about it. And they're also just such a good team that skates well. And it's not like they're a bunch of schlubs out there. All these guys can move their feet and make plays. Like they're a really fucking good hockey team. Like bravo to Billy Zito and everyone who put that roster together, because that's a fucking hell of a hockey team over there.
Before we shut her down on this post-game show, let's just not have this whole thing be negative. Let's hit on a few positives. Max Domi, by far his best game of the season tonight. He like, Berube was moving him all over the place. He had him centering the third line. He moved Lawton up. Then they had Domi up on the second line on the wing. He just, by far, you texted me and you said Max is at his best when he's involved.
Yeah, like he goes out, he lays a massive, beautiful hit, maybe the nicest hit I've seen all year. And then he gets into a fight, got kind of lucky that the guy lost his balance. He's able to fill him in a little bit. And then, again, look what happens when you go in and you actually shoot the puck. Like, you're a good player. You're a good, talented player. Just shoot the puck. Well, I don't understand what's wrong with that. Look what happens when you do. Maybe you wouldn't have 4 goals this year, or now 5 or whatever. But, yeah, it's just that he needs another guy who just needs to change a little bit, get more involved, do something different.
Chris Tanev is so far and away the best defenseman on this team. It is almost comical how much better he is than everybody else.
Which I find just so, like, when they got Chris Tanev, I was like, hey, they're getting a really good defenseman here. But just like based off him on his other teams, like, I just wasn't expecting to get a guy who's literally going to be your number 1 defenseman.
Yeah, by a mile.
Yeah.
By a mile. And just his ability, Mike Johnson was highlighting it tonight. Like, he's the only guy that can calm the play down in their own end. He's literally the only guy that can get the puck on his stick and make a nice clean pass out of the zone. No other guy can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think who else had a good, you know, who's, actually, no, we'll start with good. I think Simone Benoit has been all over the place the past 2 games. This guy is hitting everybody. He's in everybody's face.
Yeah.
Dropping the mitts.
I think there's talk of who the 6th guy is going to be in the playoffs. It's going to be him, because I think Berube loves how physical he is.
Yeah, I would way rather have, like, he's been a wagon the last 2 games. He's running around doing everything. Scored a goal. He got into a fight. He Superman punched someone. He outskated Sam Bennett, drew a penalty tonight. I thought he played really well. Trying to think who else.
Well, you were gonna touch on something negative there, so just go ahead and say it.
Someone needs to call 911 and figure out where Bobby McMahon is. This guy's invisible since the 4 Nations. Like, where is this guy? He's literally just out there skating around doing nothing.
Yes, and he's their bottom 6 scoring completely goes down the toilet when he goes cold like this.
Such an important player. So I mean, I think he has shown that he's a bit of a streaky guy so far in his career, and at least he already has a couple Genos in the bank already. But yeah, he needs to play a little bit better. And then I'm watching Scott Lawton out there, and it's
Scotty Lawton's getting picked on a lot on Leaf Twitter right now.
Sometimes it's just like, I feel like it's all well and good to go and get a guy at the deadline, but you just have to think about it. I know it's hard to take the fan out and think about them as like a human being. Like you want them to play his best, but to get traded and just completely have your life turn upside down. You come here and you had a couple bad games, and it's just like this guy's probably so far in his head right now, and it's just how is he going to be able to play enough hockey to get like acclimated to the role they need him to play, or like is he ever going to really get on track? Like it's kind of scary in that sense, where it's maybe he's just had a bad start here, and I don't know if he'll be able to get it on the rails. Like I don't know.
Well, dude, him and Brandon Carlo are also joining this team at a weird time. Like they joined them in the midst of them absolutely spiraling on a road trip. They play one game, and then the next day they're having a freaking closed door meeting with Berube, being like, "Why are we so awful defensively?" So, listen,
I don't want to shit on those guys. I really don't.
No, I don't. And listen, if you're those two guys, just hang in there. Scotty Lawton, all you got to do is have a good game in the playoffs. No one will care. No one will care. That's it. And also, I'm really hesitant to start picking on guys when I have a difficult time telling the difference between Auston Matthews and David Kampf. I can't tell the difference. They're the exact same hockey player. So I'm not going to pick on Scotty Lawton.
So murdered for that comment, but
it just is what it is.
Yeah. I don't want to give those guys shit, but he's had a bit of a go here early, and I hope it turns around for him.
So Saturday night, the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, great, another
team
that they just like
they just
tonight,
can't beat.
If there's two players in this league who can single-handedly beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's Sam Bennett and Brady Tkachuk.
Yes.
Like it literally could just be Sam Bennett on the ice with Sergei Bobrovsky, and he would somehow win that series.
Yes.
And same with Brady Tkachuk. Just their individual mindsets alone is just too much stress on the system of the Toronto Maple Leafs to handle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. Let's just go and get. And Ottawa looks good too. Like they're
Ottawa's rolling. Rolling, and like they got it. I don't know, man. It's getting more and more. It's looking more and more like it's going to be Tampa, because I don't think either one of them's catching Florida. And
I would rather them play Tampa than play. Yeah, Florida's gone, and I don't want them to play Ottawa. I play Tampa, fine. That's the only team they've had success against. So fuck it.
Winning the division thing is like I'm of two minds on it, because on the one hand, yes, you win the division and then the two Florida teams play each other, they beat the hell out of each other, and that's that. However, like you and I always say, this team can lose to anybody, and going into a playoff series where you're the favorite against Columbus or Ottawa, I've seen that movie. I saw that movie during COVID and the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, I never want to watch that movie again. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back on Sunday morning after Leafs Sends, do our usual weekly Sunday show. Just want to say, man, last episode, tons of comments, tons of engagement, tons of new subs. We absolutely love it. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button below. Ryan and I are going to be doing 2 shows a week the rest of the way, and then we get to playoffs, and it's post-game season. We'll be doing an episode after every single Leafs playoff game. So as I said before, hit that like and subscribe button below. If you're listening to the audio version, please do the same.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. We will see you guys on Sunday morning.